I had a few beers. How about that with Andre the Giant? He saw me. He says, "Oh, little man, come have one. I've been waiting."
Shut up and sit down.
Inside Wisconsin is brought to you by Baycare Clinic, Cobblestone Creek, the University of Wisconsin-Platteville, Mill Home Supper Club, Festival Foods, Capital Credit Union, North Star Mohican Casino Resort, American Family Insurance, and Rolltech.
What's up, Wisconsin? From the Inside Wisconsin studios, my name is Trevor Thomas in the Ellison Bay sweatshirt. I mean, I don't know.
There you go.
I feel like you have a Wisconsin dresser. And apparently bats that no one can touch. Hi, J.A. How are you?
I'm good. Yeah. Dork, listen, you got a cabin up north, right?
Fair.
Okay. Well, we didn't have we did when I was really a little kid, but we used to, as a summer, we would always go up there. The whole family up until recently is about 8 or 9 years ago when everybody's family got too big and dispersed. We always went up to Ellison Bay up there. I think it's been rebranded, but the old Cedar Grove Resort right there by the Pioneer Store in the Mink River Basin. Right? The Viking. You ever been to the Viking? They got a nice fish boil there in the Viking right off the main road. I don't think you go up as high in Door County as I do.
Not typically. No, we stick to Carlsville and south.
That's not even, is that even Indoor County?
Yes, it's Indoor County. We make it to Egg Harbor for the fireworks every once in a while and do some things and go to Cave Point. But I mean, I've been to Sister Bay and Al Johnson's and the goats on the roof and all those things up there. But
and now I just ask you to go a little bit. If you go a little bit farther up there, you're good.
All right. I'll look into it. I'll look into it.
Yeah, we'll talk about that. Well, that'll be a top 5 eating places in Door County. Because if you've missed this, everybody goes with Al Johnson's. But if you haven't eaten at the Sister Bay Bowl, right? By the way, how Wisconsin is that? Let's go eat at the bowling alley.
Yeah. No joke.
You don't think that would have thrown my man Levy? Hey, where are we going? Leaves. We're going to go eat at a bowling alley.
Bowling alley.
Yeah.
Or Merrick's. He would have been tossed for Merrick's.
So, anyway.
All right.
You like my bet, by the way?
What's all this about? I mean,
it's just in honor of today's guest, Gorman Thomas. I don't have a Gorman Thomas bat, but I have a Prince Fielder bat.
Yeah, that is Prince Fielder's actual bat. Am I wrong?
Yeah, it is. It was a new one. He gave it to my son. So look at me, how golfer I am. I overlapped like nobody overlapped.
Stuck the pinky in the.
Yeah, so it's never. It's not game used. It's just a bat that he had in the locker, and so that's all.
If there was a piece of Wisconsin memorabilia, I mean things that used to exist in the past that we would hold dear today.
Yeah,
and I could have it. It would be a Brewers hit. I would like to have one or two.
I was going to say, we got to bring some together. One's not going to do it.
What happened?
Right? They plain old flat could not hit. It's that simple. The first 3 games, they had one swing, right? Tellez is the whole thing. It's amazing how quickly everything went south. Boy, they were rolling. They got up 33, 34 games above 500. They're like, this is it. But yet we were always worried, could they hit enough?
Yeah.
And hit again and again. You get into playoffs when you see everybody's best and people go to the short starters and start firing people out of the bullpen. And when that happens, now you've leveraged and put pressure on your own pitchers because they've got to be perfect every time. So even when they give up 2 or 3 runs, which is okay, that's not terrible. You've gotten yourself in this ridiculous hole that seems like it's a 10 or 12 run deficit. And that was just, to me, it's that simple. They didn't hit. And you get along. They talk about analytics. Analytics are great over the course of a long season. 162 games, most of the analytics work out. And you're going to go on these stretches where guys play well and they get big hits. And nobody did that here because now in a short series, right, those numbers, you don't have time to flatten them out. You don't have time for all those averages to come through in just 5 games, or in this case, 4. And they just could not hit a lick. And it was somewhat mysterious in that I don't know that anybody thought Yelich was just going to go in the tank so badly. Guy struck out 8 times in 16 at bats, 14 at bats. But everybody did, just everybody. And I think we talk so much, right, about how great Counsell was in piecing things together. And this time there weren't even pieces to put together.
You don't have the pieces anymore. Offense wins games, defense wins championships. Turns out you got to win a game or two in order to win a championship. I mean, it is what it is. I sent you a stat. Here I am, Mr. In my basement in Wisconsin, sending you a stat that said something like we took 99 players to the plate and had one run producing hit in 3 games. I mean, you're not going to win.
They were 0 for 16 with runners in scoring position the first one. And then when they finally did it, I think they were so overjoyed that there was, all of a sudden the pitchers had a little workroom. And listen, Freddie Freeman and Albies and these guys, they can play, So all of a sudden they're on scholarship too, and they're plenty good. And
they're on scholarship too.
Right. And they proved it as well. So when he comes through, but even when they finally got a couple of hits, strung together, anytime you're celebrating that you've strung 2 hits together, right? Like you're in a bad way, but I still think it was just a whale of an unbelievably great season, entertaining season. My God, the Cubs finished 30 games back. How awesome is that?
Let's just celebrate that, shall we? All right. So you and I pride ourselves on positivity and joy and all those things. So
sometimes when I'm not with you, I'm a complete mess, actually.
I build you up too, Buttercup. It's all good, man. So I'm excited today because we're taking a trip down memory lane to talk about some positive Brewer things with a guy who was there for all of the positive Brewer things in the early 80s. Stormin Gorman Thomas is our guest today on Inside Wisconsin. And the first thing we got out of the way was that I was not alive when he was in his prime. So, John, if you could please tell us about your memories of Stormin Gorman Thomas.
Wow. My favorite part is here's what I think sums it up great. And of course, it would not be me. I'm stealing from the great Bob Uecker, who used to always kind of keep track of Gorman's his look. Once in a while on a Friday night, TMJ would have a game and it would be statewide. So you might get to see these guys, if you're lucky, 5 times a year. Wow. The rest of the time, right, you're listening to Uecker's description. So he'd always let you know when Gorman, look at Gorman stands in, and I think Gorman's looking freshly barbered tonight, right? Which might mean that he just only had it flying out one way. And he described it one time as looking like an unmade bed. And that to me is still one of the most descriptive, wonderful pictures. So picture that guy, right? Hair everywhere, coming out of the hat, great flow, too much salad for the bowl, the scraggly beard, not one of these, perfect 4 or 5 days where he's got the grooming trimmer. It just was there. And so here's this guy that has charisma just because of his appearance. He's a power hitter, which is always thrilling, right? Because even when I was a kid, chicks dig the long ball or whatever the saying was they had for a while.
Yeah, that's right.
And then in center field, because you'd look at him and you think, well, that's not your classic super quick cover everything center fielder. And
Sure.
Yet he was deceptively quick. But he just ran into stuff, right? Like he didn't really, it's funny, it's called the warning track. And he seemed to a lot of times disregard the warning of the dirt that was out there. And so the style of play he had where he kind of flung himself around with abandon to get the ball, all of it made him arguably at the peak of that. I don't know that there was a more popular Brewer. Like Yount overall rounded was better.
Sure.
Certainly. And when Molitor came up, he was a special talent when he arrived on the scene. But I don't know that there wasn't anybody that was more sort of beloved and more embodied. We talk about, right, all things Wisconsin. You're like, here's a guy that's kind of, like I said, unshaven. You can tell he likes to drink beer. He gives full effort. He kind of oozed, for a guy from South Carolina, he oozed a lot of Wisconsin.
He oozed Wisconsin, and he still does. You guys are going to love this. Up next, Stormin Gorman Thomas on Inside Wisconsin.
Shut up and sit down.
And so here he is, Brewers legend Stormin Gorman Thomas with us on Inside Wisconsin. Gorman, what is going on? Thanks for being here.
Not a thing. Thank you for having me. This is a treat. I'm telling you right now. I'm getting ready for a winter. I don't know about y'all. John, you're down on the damn island down in South Carolina most of your time. So, we're stuck up here.
I do it backwards somehow. I'm here in the winter, and then I'm down there in the summer. I really want it to be 108 degrees with 97% humidity, or I'm just totally not comfortable down there.
I understand.
Let's talk baseball. I am in high school, and I go see Simon and Garfunkel in concert, and they are at County Stadium, and Art Garfunkel standing out there talks to the crowd, and he looks and he goes, "So this is where Gorman Thomas stands."
Go away. Go away. You're not. Now you're lying.
That's what he said.
What?
That's what he says. Art Garfunkel. This is where Gorman Thomas stands, and the place erupts. What was it like having center field at County Stadium as your office?
Well, it took me a long time to get elected for that. I sat on the bench from 73, 4, 5, and 6. And then thank God for George Bamberger. He gave me a chance. I would not have had a baseball career without him. I met him. It's a long story, so I'm going to make it short. He says, "Who are you?" I said, "I'm Gorman Thomas. Who are you?" He said, "I'm George Bamberger, the manager." "Oh, hi, George. How are you? Nice to meet you." He says, "Yeah, you're my starting center fielder. Don't lose it." I said, "Could I have that in writing?" And sure in hell, he gave me a chance, and I started off badly. I struck out 4 times opening day in 1978. And I said, "Well, there's the end of my career. I'm all done." George came over to my locker, and reached over my shoulder with a cold one. He says, "You know what? I didn't need you today. You'll do something for me tomorrow." And I said, "I'm playing?" He says, "Oh, yeah, you're playing tomorrow." I hit a granny the next day. He snuck up behind me. He had 2 beers. Got him over both shoulders at the same time. I knew what I was talking about. But, yeah, God bless him. I mean, I would not have had that opportunity without him.
And granny and home run, you hit a whole bunch of them in your career. What was your favorite part of County Stadium to hit a home run to? Were you a dead pole hitter?
Pretty much. Frank Howard was one of our coaches, and he says, "Always remember this. If you're going to go dead center, that's where only the big boys can take it." So, we had 392, in the gaps. There was no problem with it. I mean, we handled with it. It was cold and windy early and late. You didn't think about it. I probably was a pull hitter, but it was just a wonderful old girl to play baseball in.
You talk about getting to play every day. I've covered sports for God knows how long, 30 some odd years, and spent time that were minor league towns in AA and AAA. I was there in Phoenix when the big club came and they still had the AAA team there. Just the idea, the confidence it gives you when that guy turns over the position to you and says, "This is yours." And you know that you can go 0 for 4. The difference that makes in a player's confidence and how that can set them onto the road, like in your case, where now you're an established big leaguer.
Well, and before I even try to answer that question, I want to say I enjoy you on TV because I know you know what you're talking about.
Thank you.
There are talking heads that don't even know what a baseball looks like. Okay, so after I've said that, okay, I did my time, in the minor leagues. I started off I got drafted as a shortstop by the Seattle Pilots in '69, and I had a cannon. But the trouble is that I would take my time to and be more deliberate and watch the guy run and then let it fly. They finally found out they couldn't sell any tickets behind home first base, so they moved me over to third and get a different angle. Same thing. So one year they said, "Let's make him an outfielder." So I had multiple guys during the winter, baseball season in Arizona actually, and they hit me, 300 fly balls every day after everybody had left, and then I get to hit extra, and that just changed my whole life right there. Here I am, an outfielder with power. So I had some really, really good years in the minor leagues, and I didn't think it was ever going to happen any further until George came around. And a person in the locker next to me, Don Money. We would sit there, we would talk baseball, pro or con, what we did on a given day. And he kind of just changed my way of doing it, with the exception of a 2-0 or a 3-1. Everything else I saw were sliders. So he said, "Why don't you look for it? You're quick enough to get around on the fastball." So, whatever I hit, probably 269, I'd probably hit over 200 of them off of sliders. So I could hit anybody's fastball. And I don't have to do it again. But Nolan Ryan, yeah, he was 100 plus. There's no doubt about that. Here's a little quick one about that. We're down in Dallas one night, and I can't think of the umpire. Right, doesn't make any difference right now because we all laughed about it. He threw a pitch. The umpire called it a strike, and I turned and I said, "Let me ask you a question. Was that the speed of the ball, or is that the temperature on the scoreboard?" And he said, "Well, it could have been either one." I said, "Oh, okay." And I did hit one that night off of him, and he had a thing that he did after he gave one up. Talk about Nolan Ryan. He would stare down the batter, and he wanted to see if you were going to look at him. So you get back in the dugout. And they said, "Did you look at him?" And I said, "Hell no, I didn't look at him because I know what he would do if next time up. He was looking at you." And I said, "Okay." But you learn how to play the game.
You're talking about how center field changed your career. So I called my dad and I said, "Dad, we're about to have Gorman Thomas on the show. Tell me what I need to know." And he said, "Ask him about running into the center fielder wall constantly." Apparently, all you did was run in and crash into the wall in center field. That's exactly what he said.
Thing too. Let me let you know. Some people, in today's baseball, they kind of they want to just lollipop, go after it slow or whatever, and then at the last stride, make it look like something that's just exceptionally done. You know what? You go get the ball. You go get the ball. You know where the fence is at. If it gets in the way, it's going to get hurt. So that's just the way you play. Forget the wall. The wall is going to get hurt. You're not. I had a couple times where you get wake up and say, "Oh, is it time for breakfast?" But I did that in Texas one day with George. And George is just a small little fellow. Okay, he's like 5'8", 5'9", and he had a couple of favorite words, but we can't use them. So I ran into the wall in Texas, and the next thing I know, I woke up, and here's George bending over, looking down to me. "Are you okay? Did I catch it?" He said, "Are you okay?" I said, "Did I catch it? Are you okay?" I said, "George, I keep hearing you say that. Did I catch the damn thing?" He says, "Yes, you caught it." I said, "Okay, yeah, I'm ready." He says, "Next time you get up before I don't have to run out here for 400 feet, to see if sorry ass is going to be okay." He was beautiful. Honest to God, he was as beautiful as any man you'll ever want to meet in your life.
Listen, he transformed the franchise. I mean, you were there through lean years, right? After 78 came, and even though you didn't make the playoffs, you won 90 games. That's back when you had to win your division and it meant something. But you won 90 games, and that the organization really built there to what happened in 1982. So you have this thing where there's a warning track out there in the dirt. You choose to ignore that. You hit home runs, the hair flowing, the mustache, the beard. It's a whole look. And now you're Stormin Gorman Thomas, right? Like, when did this persona, you realize what this was? And this, as good a player as there was, I don't know that there was a more popular player or person on that team than all that encompassed Stormin Gorman Thomas.
I was in the middle of everything. I'll put it to you this way. And there were cahoots with other people too. I have to add their names in here: Bobby McClure, Charlie Moore, Mike Caldwell, and right on down the line. And we'd have the game of embarrassing somebody that day. Like people who smoke, because back then you could smoke in the clubhouse. And one of them was our pitching coach, Pat Dobson, and we would load his cigarettes up. He fired a boom, or Caldwell and I, we'd climb over the top of the lockers and sneak up over there and drop a firecracker right behind him. Just things like that. It kept everybody loose. But, it's just something that keeps the guys together. We did things. And here's a little tidbit too. We're not advocating, drinking and, cigarettes and, and all this. But after a baseball game, in every town that we went to, there was a hardcore section. There was like 5 of us. No matter what, we went and had a little, iced tea, and some coffee, things like that. And there were other guys that would traipse along with us. They didn't drink, they didn't smoke, anything else. They go to bed, if it was possible, 9:00 at night. The rest of us were out, but they came along because they knew something was going to happen every night, every night. Oh, I had a few beers. How about that with Andre the Giant? He's 7'7", and I was introduced to him by the owner of a sports place, really nice place for food. I'm serious. It was Lindell's Athletics Saloon, if you will. And he introduced me to me because I stopped in here to get a burger on the way to Tiger Stadium. And then he says, let's have a beer. I said, I got to go to work. He says, I wait for you. I wait for you. So we go down to Tiger Stadium. We had a nice night. We come back. We'd walk inside Lindell's. And he saw me. He says, oh, little man, come have one. I've been waiting. I go back there in the back. He orders 2 pitchers of beer. And I got 2 glasses of draft. And he says, cheers. He chugs down 2 pitchers to my 1 glass of beer. And all of a sudden, you ever seen 7-7 going backwards? They landed on the ground, right on the floor. They got 2 tablecloths, put it right over him. He spent the night there. Things like that happen all the time.
Somehow only just begun with stories with the one and only Stormin Gorman Thomas. More with Gorman Thomas in just a bit. We are Inside Wisconsin.
Inside Wisconsin is brought to you by Baycare Clinic, Cobblestone Creek, the University of Wisconsin Platteville, Mill Home Supper Club, Festival Foods, Capital Credit Union, North Star Mohican Casino Resort, American Family Insurance, and Rolltech.
Helpful critiques, ideas, great stories, people we should know, the great bar in your town, the fish fry you want to know, the fish boil, anything that you want to reach out to us with. We are happy. We are here. You can be the inputters. We're here to listen. Back on Inside Wisconsin, visiting with Gorman Thomas. I have a feeling he's a candidate for 4 shows.
I feel like we could probably listen to him talk for literally days.
Right. I don't know that we're actually essential to the conversation here. I think if we just turn on the old Gorman tap, it would be a while before it ran out. You know what I'm saying?
It took a minute to track him down. I mean, this is a guy that we wanted to have on Inside Wisconsin. This is funny. A friend of mine within the Northwoods League, Gorman is one of those guys that goes on tour every once in a while, shared that he had his number. So we're texting back and forth. He was doing some travels. I mean, he was not an easy guy to track down. I'm at a family gathering this past weekend talking about what's coming up in the show. And I say to my mom and my family, yeah, Gorman Thomas is going to be our next guest on Inside Wisconsin. My mom goes, oh, I have his phone number. I'm like, huh? She's like, yeah, when I was working at the store, he would always want to come in and sell us his Stormin Gorman sauce and his Stormin sauce or whatever. And yeah, I had his number. He told me to reach out to him whenever. I'm like, Mom, do you have anybody else's number that I could use? Like, never thought to give me Gorman Thomas's number. So,
right. Mm-hmm.
All right. So it's top 5 time. And J.A., you got the idea this week.
So I figure this is a game we play there at the ESPN all the time. So Gorman Thomas, by the way, 5th all time in Brewers home runs.
All right.
Right. So if we were going to say people who are the top 5 Brewer home run hitters, right? Probably not that hard. You've got Robin Yount all time. He's on the list of everything. He's actually 2. You got Ryan Braun. You got him. Prince Fielder. Gorman's 5. Took me a minute. Not hard to come up with Jeff Jenkins there at 5. So that's easy. That's not helping people. So that we're gonna expand your knowledge. We're gonna make sure you know certain things that you need to know. We do this all the time. They'll really test your knowledge is to go through who are 6 through 10. So our top 5 is actually kind of the next 5.
The next 5.
The next 5. And I just want from you, I need the next 5 Brewers on the all-time Brewer home run list. So we're going 6 through 10. Okay, I'm gonna call it up just to make sure in case you need some help, some clues.
Thank you.
We'll put it up there
for transparency purposes.
I don't know that there's a ton of these that should challenge you, but I'm gonna just BS just a little bit longer so the audience is formulating this. If you're playing this, don't look it up until the end. People, do your best at home. So do you want to go?
Say that.
Do you want to go 6 through 10 or 10 through 6?
I don't think you're going to get to choose what order I come up with. I'm just going to try to name those 5 guys in any particular order. And just for transparency purposes, I have not researched this at all. You dropped this on me about 2 minutes before we clicked record.
That's how the game's played, because if you research it up, then it's really not the same. It's
kind of stupid. Yeah. All right, here we go. So the first guy that came to my mind, Greg Vaughn.
Which is amazing, because I thought he would be one that would be tougher to get. Greg Vaughn is number 8, 169 home runs. Greg Vaughn is a terrific pull by you. Excellent.
That is Vaughn's Valley.
He was one of the few guys in Major League Baseball history that was drafted 5 times.
What?
5 times. Yeah, 5 times.
All right.
So you've got Greg Vaughn. Perfect.
Well,
what do you got? What else you got?
Some other names that came to my mind that were power hitters when I was a kid. Richie Sexson.
Out.
Damn it. Do I get 3 strikes and then I'm out? This is bad.
No. How about this? 3 of them were teammates of Gorman Thomas.
Oh, okay. Ready? Cecil Cooper.
6.
Yes. All right. So then Paul Molitor?
10.
Wow. I don't remember him being a big power hitter.
160. That's not a giant power hitter, but he hit enough.
Okay.
All right. So we're looking for 7 and 9.
Yeah. Okay.
Obviously, you're very good with even numbers. Now we've got to get the odd numbers. 7.
Yeah. And if you knew me, you would know that. I hate odd
Brown,
numbers.
Yount, Fielder, Jenkins, Thomas, then Cooper at 6, Vaughn at 8, Molly's 10.
There's one more Gorman Thomas teammate.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's Gumby.
No.
Jim Gantner? No.
I don't know that Gantner hit 100 in his career.
Just checking. Now I'm going to struggle because
when we do the game, you're allowed to ask for hints, and then you try to give them when. So this guy, because it's hard. The number 7 also won a batting title, and like Gorman, a home run title, and like Gorman, he shared it with Reggie Jackson that year. I think he hit 39.
Gorman Thomas hit 39 in 1982.
Right, but this is not Gorman Thomas.
But so
like Gorman Thomas won a home American League home run crown, but he shared it like Gorman did with Reggie Jackson.
I'm out of bobbleheads. You're gonna have to give this one to me.
Came over from the Tigers
in a trade.
Yes,
but he wasn't a pitcher.
No,
I don't know.
Great nickname.
This might help.
The nickname was also the name of a very famous Hollywood dog. Okay, I'm going to pause while all of Wisconsin is yelling at you. Guess Benji.
I still don't know it.
Ben Ogilvy.
I didn't know it. I would have never got that one.
Clearly.
I would have. Well, sorry. All right, and so give me a hint where number 9 comes in.
As great as the Greg Vaughn poll was, you lose points for the Ben Ogilvy thing.
Sorry, yep,
that's hard. Yeah, you should always remember Benji.
All right,
Benji. So
can you give me a span of time number 9 played, because I have a decent chance.
Yeah, you would have he would have been in your childhood, very prominent. I covered him in college when he played at Oklahoma State.
Were you a colleague with him at one point?
What's that?
Were you a colleague with him at one point?
Nope.
Okay,
so Fernando Dean is out.
Yeah, I was thinking Burnitz. Burnitz hit a lot of home runs. Lefty or righty?
There you go. You fell right on it. But he is not a colleague of mine.
Oh, I thought Burnitz was.
Not that I know of. Never been in the building in Bristol. Jeremy Burnitz, correct.
Yes.
Former Metsman, right? Drafted by the Mets in the first round. When he was drafted, I was really surprised. I'm like, really? So that's great. So you are awesome. It would have taken me forever to come up with Vaughn. That was in a vague period of not greatness. I would have come up with Burnitz just because of his Oklahoma State thing. And then the Cooper, Ogilvy, Molly, those are, come on. That's like,
I don't
tell you, that's like shooting fish in a barrel, but there's not even a barrel. That's literally like trying to just pick up fish. That's all that is.
The Ogilvy thing is if you thought I was going to get 4 out of those 5, I think you'd be lying. I am really proud of myself right now. That did not go how I was going to go.
Let's talk to Gorman.
There we go.
He played with Ben Ogilvy.
Shut up and sit down.
We are back inside Wisconsin. Trevor Thomas, John Anderson, and Stormin Gorman Thomas. All right, so Gorman, you could have, I don't know, settled down anywhere. You could have went back to South Carolina, but you chose Wisconsin. What was it about us and the state in your time here with the Brewers that you just fell in love with? What was it?
You see my fingers. I mean, they can't. I broke too many of them. I guarantee there it is. It looks like a paw. But no, my wife Susie and I, we are very fortunate to have four grandchildren, 13, 11, a 4, and a 2 coming up on November. Never going anyplace else, you know that. I mean, it's so nice to be a part of it because one is a standout lacrosse player. The next one's he's going to be a golfer. Then you've got the little 4-year-old girl. She speaks German and English already, and some of my words. I said, don't say it. And then the little one, I call him Bam Bam. I mean, oh my Lord, he comes up and punches, and he's only a year old. But you know, it's wonderful. It's beautiful. I mean, we're out in an area, which is just fantastic. So, yeah, it's nice.
You settled out kind of in a rural area. How come out there? What is it about the just the outdoorsy nature of it? Why there?
You can make yourself comfortable in the city, if you want to be that kind of person. Myself, I kind of like it out away from the city itself. The city's nice, and don't get me wrong, but out here, people are, they're quiet, they're friendly. I've known some people out here, since where we're living right now, 25 years. So, it's just a nice place.
Yeah. You were inducted into the Wisconsin Sports Hall of Fame in 2003. So you call here home, and now you got a home in that Hall of Fame here in Wisconsin. Take us back to that induction. What did that mean to you to be a part of that group?
Well, it's a humbling situation, to be honest with you. I wasn't born here, but I pretty much, played my entire year here as a Brewer. And I got the Hall of Fame in South Carolina as well. So that's just that was just something else to do. I mean, it's hard to say, I don't think that I was, a superstar, but I was flattered. I enjoyed playing here. If any place on this planet was good for me to play as a professional baseball player, Milwaukee was where I would like to have played my entire life. It's a nice feeling to be part of the Hall of Fame.
You're down 0-2 to the Angels in 82 in the ALCS, and the message is what? Going out there for Game 3.
It was kind of embarrassing that we got off to a start like that.
Mm-hmm.
I think maybe all of the rush that you need to play have in your body for every game that you play. It all started in Baltimore. We had 4 games to go, and we were up by 3. And we go boom, boom, boom. And here again, we were a group that we went after the game. We went out and, had some pizza and hot dogs and stuff afterward.
Sure.
So we go into Baltimore and said, okay, look, we got to win one game here early, real quick. So let's just stay in after the game, and then we'll have a little party. Well, boom, boom, boom. We stayed in the first 2 nights. Number 3, oh my goodness, now we're in trouble. So the night before the last day, and I think we ended up winning 10-3 or something like that.
Yeah, Don Sutton.
Because we had gone back to our normal regimen, right? So then from there, I'm throwing mustard around, and somebody gave me some champagne, and I hate champagne ever since that day. I'm telling you right now, don't even go near that stuff. But I did have the foghorn, all right, everybody, let's have another one over here. All the way nonstop, California. We worked out, boom. First time at bat, I hit a home run off of Tommy John. But guess what? They were a good team too, so they beat us the first 2. But coming back home and winning the American League, that was awesome.
Yeah, I bet that was awesome. Oh, let's go.
And what is the truly? They talk. You play 162 games during the year, and here's a game on. I don't care, whatever it is, July 12th. It seems like you're in the dog days. But now you get into this World Series, and the pageantry. Like, do you feel how different that game is? Do you feel the importance of that when you go out there?
It was just a shock.
Uh-huh.
We knew that we were capable of being there. We deserved to be there. Our first game in St. Louis, it was 10-0.
Yeah.
So maybe we took it for granted. But then again, that's what happens. When you're a good team, the other team knows that they have to be on the top of their game. And, okay, so they got their butt beat the first game. Let's show them that we are the team that should be here as well. And they did. They fought back, things like that. We were the icing on the cake. I'm talking about the Cards and us.
Mm-hmm.
So, we went through it. It was a wonderful, wonderful thing. And I'm going to say this one thing right now. I think it was game 7. George Hendricks, I think, was the hitter. And he stood way back away from the plate, so it was kind of hard to get inside on him. And Pete Ladd was on the mound. I think the count was 1 ball and 2 strikes. Through 1. It was almost dead center, but it was a strike, and it was called as a ball. And that would have been the inning ender right there, strike 3. Next pitch, he hit one off the end of the bat, hit one of those squirrelers out there, and we ended up getting beat. I'm going to tell you, I'm emotional, win or not, anything, whatever. And Robin and I were in the back seat of the plane, and we were crying going back to Milwaukee. We land. Well, I think maybe just before we got off the plane, he says, and I don't even know who was talking, and be downtown Milwaukee at X amount of time, and there's going to be a parade. And what? We lost. We didn't win. There's not going to be anybody there. And, it was reiterated, be there. It's mandatory. So we get all the way downtown, and it was about an hour or so before the time. So we got in our respective vehicle, and Vuk and I were in the same one. I mean, they had to bring somebody in their truck, the car that, had a little bit of handsomeness. How about that?
Sure.
Because Vuk didn't have any. When Vuk was born, they slapped his mom instead of him when he was born. Okay. So we popped out from underneath the building, and holy God, there's over 1 million people on Wisconsin Avenue. So we went from there probably down to, I'm going to say maybe 12 blocks. That was one of the most unbelievable things that I had the honor to be a part of it.
So you described the disappointment of losing. You guys are nearly in tears.
Yeah.
The worst time to ask anybody how their feeling is right after that, because you haven't processed. But if you look at this now 40 years down the line, almost 40 years, you view the World Series as what? Because it's great to get there. I mean, is there ultimately disappointment, or is there ultimately there's pride that we're still the only team in Brewer history that made it to the World Series?
We were not the kind of player or team that we would run around saying, hey, look, we're the best there is. We wanted to play like we were the best. Now, you don't let your mouth, get your butt in trouble. You go out there and do what you're supposed to do every day. That's what we did. We had the same lineup, like I told you earlier. But, at that point in time, we still believe, probably till today, that we were the better team. But that's why we play 7 instead of just 1. 1, anybody can win. Anybody can, have some luck. But, we played against a good team, and we were a damn good team. We were upset. And then after that, then they started dismantling the team that got them there. I mean, it was me. I think it was Benji. Then it was Jimmy Slayton soon later on with Charlie. And I didn't pay that much, attention after that because it devastated me.
Listen, we could listen to these stories literally all day long. I have nothing else to do. John, you busy?
Well, eventually, like tomorrow, or my kid graduates in spring. But no, I'm good for the most part.
All right, well, then we'll do one more segment with the Brewers legend, Gorman Thomas. We'll wrap it up with him in just a bit. We'll be back. We are Inside Wisconsin.
Inside Wisconsin is brought to you by Baycare Clinic, Cobblestone Creek, the University of Wisconsin Platteville, Mill Home Supper Club, Festival Foods, Capital Credit Union, North Star Mohican Casino Resort, American Family Insurance, and Roll Tech.
Helpful critiques, ideas, great stories, people we should know, the great bar in your town, the fish fry you want to know, the fish boil, anything that you want to reach out to us with. We are happy. We are here. You can be the inputters. We're here to listen.
We're back inside Wisconsin with Stormin, Gorman Thomas. All right, Gorman, I know that you played with Hank Aaron for his last 2 seasons. Give us one great Hank Aaron story.
I'll do one real quick. We were playing golf one day, and he showed up late. He's always late, always late, always late. But when you see him, you see Euchre. They were just inseparable. So he was late getting to the golf course. We were already teed off on the 3rd hole, and it was a dog leg right around this lake. So here comes the hammer, pulled up in a golf cart by himself. He jumps up, he stretches up a little bit, and he pegs one up. Water, water, water. He walks back because he was asking the guy to throw him a ball. Well, after that, he goes over and gets a ball, and I'm waiting for him to come back. Next thing I know, I hear the cart leaving. He's waving, bye, boys. I'm not playing today. So, for God's sakes. He also had a thing where, he and Bob Euchre, who is a wonderful man, they were inseparable. After the games, they would go into the lounge in the hotels because he couldn't go out on the street. So it got to the point where I kind of snuck in, and I was invited to sit. I didn't really say much at all, if you can imagine that. But with Hank and with Euchre, stories after. So after the end of the night, Hank would say, "Would you mind going over and sign my tab and make sure you leave a nice tip." So the last time I did that, I did it many times. So the one night in Kansas City, and he says, "I'm ready." I said, I'll get it. So I go over there and I sign his name, and I get the receipt and everything, and I give him to him. "Thank you very much." I go back and I said, "Hank, what's your receipt?" He said, "No, you've always been good." I said, "Well, this was an exception." He said, "What do you mean?" I said, "Well, I always leave a nice tip, but, the waitress was very nice to you and to Bob and to myself, I guess. And I left a nice tip." He said, now you got me worried now. What kind of tip?" I said, "I left a $200 tip." He almost went berserk. So then he opens up, there it is, and it wasn't anywhere near that, maybe $20. He was cheap. So anyway, but he and Bob Euchre, I'm telling you right now, were two of the most finest individuals I've ever met in my life.
Yeah, what a gift. What a gift to have both of those in Milwaukee at the same time. All right, here's my last one. Give me the best story from Stormin and Vuk's bar.
Oh, God. I'll tell you how it all came about. I was with Cleveland, and I was in Texas. And Vuk, back then, there was no, cell phones or anything like that. So he called me up. He says, "Look, I need $1,000. I said, "What? You want $1,000? We weren't making that kind of money. So I said, "Okay, I'll take care of it." I wrote a check, went downstairs, and sent it to Vuk. 2 weeks later, he calls me back. "I need 2 more. I said, "No. What's the problem?" He said, "I can't tell you." I said, "Yeah, you can if you want $2,000. He says, "Okay, I'll tell you tomorrow." All right. So I go down there. The concierge is waiting for me because I told him I was coming, and I put the $2,000 check in. So wait, never heard another word. Then about 3 weeks later, I get it. Spike, I need another 2. I'm not giving you jack. I'm not giving you a penny. I knew you were born, you were cheap, and you were different. What is it? He says, "I didn't tell you." I said, "No, you did not." He said, "Well, okay, here it is. We got a bar." "We got a what?" "And what's the name of this fictitious bar?" He says, "It's going to be Stormin and Vooks. I said, you know what? I know you're the meanest man I've ever met in my life, and I would never want to have to try to even fight with you. You can kick my ass and everything. Of course, I'd get up and I'd have to shoot you. But anyway, when are you going to show me this thing? And he says, well, when you come back, when the season's over. Sure and shit. Oops, sure and hell.
We're fine. It's cable.
I met him at a place, and there it is. Holy cow. Walked inside. Beautiful place. It used to be a Serbian meat market. All the local Serbians down there cleaned it all up. It was massively a success. You have the occupancy. You're only allowed to have it in. Well, ours was like 95 to 100, but we were like maybe 150 inside. And then one block and then another block in another direction every night. And we had basically half of them were police and the other half were firemen. And, sometimes they don't get along, but they were welcome in there because I walked up that night and I walked up to our bartender. I'm not a bartender, but our bouncer, if you will. And hi, I'm Gorman. I'm one of the owners. And your name is? He says, I'm Rick. I said, hi, Rick. How you doing? Nice to meet you. A couple years later, that young man is the world's championship martial arts. I'm going to take you out tonight. Rick Rufus. Oh my goodness. Oh my Lord. But that was just one of them right there. And then we did have the what was the baseball game where Euchre was in the press box. I can't think of about it.
Major League.
Yeah. So they had two of them, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I was supposed to go. I passed on it and everything else, but they did have their post rap movie. And they did it at our bar. And there was another bar inside the bar that nobody really knew about it. And it was just beautifully full of antique souvenirs, memorabilia, things like that. So they were all in there, and I met to meet Tom Berenger. It was a pleasure doing some things with him that night, I'll tell you that. But it was great. It was great, so we go on.
Oh.
All right, J.A.
So I'll start with this one. First off, Coop singles, the go-ahead runs in Game 5. Have you ever been any place louder in your life than County Stadium at that moment?
It was awesome. I'd already been pulled because of my knee, so I was in the clubhouse, and it went crazy. It went crazy. Cecil, he had that crouch, semi-rod Carew type thing and everything else. And by the way, just in case, his nickname was Monsignor No Fro. Monsignor No Fro. Yeah. He had, next time I see him, he goes, "What'd you do that for?" But anyway, he was fabulous. After high about hitting 360 something, and doesn't even come close to George Brett that year when he had 390. How about that?
Yeah. But he did. You're right. He had early on little male pattern baldness. That was there for sure.
Just a little bit.
Give me the longest minor league bus ride you ever had to take.
Woo. That would be, we were playing a doubleheader. No, we played a game in the Pioneer League when I just got out of high school in '69. We were in Great Falls playing against the Giants team. So we played, and after then, you run over to the concession. They'd leave it open for us. We'd grab a couple of beers, couple of Cokes, as many hot dogs as you could get on the bus. And we drove down to Ogden, Utah. And we were going to play against the Dodgers that afternoon. But it was probably, 22, 23-hour ride. And we got our butt kicked in the first, and we came back and, we got even with them on the second. But that was probably the longest one right there.
I think, didn't Tommy Lasorda, at one time manage that team back in the day?
I'm not a big Tommy Lasorda fan because I'm going to tell you why. My daddy was playing amateur ball, all right? Lasorda was in Fort Jackson. He pitching for the Army. All right, this is in the 40s before, I don't even remember the year. So anyway, my daddy was pitching against him. They used to call him Gorman No-Hit Thomas. He would throw a double and no hitters. he signed a contract with the Yankee organization before World War II. And then when World War II came, obviously he went over to Europe. But anyway, he was pitching against Lasorda. And Lasorda, I think he maybe punched out 10, I think it was. My daddy punched out 13. So I told Tommy that when he was here in town one day for a dinner, and he said something disparaging about my daddy. And I went after him. And I went after him. And they grabbed me and kept me away. But that's, no, that did not go well with me.
All right. Then the last one here in Wisconsin, when we were a kid, we had field trips. They'd always take us to a dairy farm. When you're in Charleston and in South Carolina, do you take field trips to Fort Sumter as a youngster?
Well, actually, yes. And actually, you could walk at low tide. You could walk from James Island straight on out there. And there was another fort right there for Fort Wagner, Fort Sumter.
Yeah.
I mean,
Moultrie.
all there.
And the last one is for Trevor.
Go to Charleston.
Pardon me?
I said, I'm proud of you that you like Charleston.
I do. So the last one here then is for Trevor.
All
Trevor,
right.
who fired the first shot in defense of Fort Sumter?
Who fired the first shot in defense of Fort Sumter?
Yep. So the Civil War, Fort Sumter starts there. Who fired the first shot in defense of Fort Sumter?
The South.
No, the South made the shot. Who fired it in defense?
The North.
Correct.
If he
You
had
wanna
said
go-
west or east, I don't know what I would
I'm
say.
like,
That'd be
what?
good. It's a baseball question. You want to know?
Yeah, tell me.
Do you know Gorman?
I do, but I have forgotten now because you've
It's-
got me.
Abner Doubleday.
No, I didn't know that. I really did not.
There you go. The first,
That's- holy cow.
we're just bringing it all together. Charleston,
There it is.
baseball, Abner Doubleday. That's why I'm here.
Trevor, I'm telling you right now, I did not know that. I was born there. So
Good. I feel better.
you get that bit, you got to get that brim. You got to get
Yeah,
that.
right now
got
you,
Just,
I'll work on
Yeah.
it.
yeah, you don't,
Next time.
straight brim, I can't get used to that. Everybody looks like a railroad conductor to me. I don't like it. I need a good brim. I want it bent. I want it. The best way to do
We
that,
got it.
take a baseball, put it in the brim, put it around there, rubber bands, leave it for about 6 days. You're ready to go.
he's
Nice
been in
tight.
the sun too long down there, and it just kind of.
Yeah.
What it is. Gorman Thomas, thanks so much. We're gonna have certainly a second sitting if you're gonna be kind enough, because I got to know about some of these guys behind the scenes.
Thanks, guys.
Gorman,
Enjoyed it. That was
you're a gift.
fabulous.
Gorman, you're a gift,
Thank
man.
you.
Happy to have you here.
Yep.
God
Bye
bless
now.
you.
Cheers, brother.
Shut up and sit down.
I might have undersold it. We might need 6 Gorman Thomas, because I feel like every story I felt bad, like I kept cutting the guy off. Right? Like
It was hard.
There was more to go.
I don't know who has more random things, your house or Gorman Thomas's head.
He's one of those guys that you're like, oh boy, would I like to spend a night in the bar and listen to him talk. But you'd have to spend like a week of nights in the bar talking to him.
I think he did.
Yeah. And imagine if you like everybody, if you just, here's a beer, we'll loosen everybody up. It might be, but listen, it was a different baseball time. He wasn't quite the 60s where it was still, let's have some brown water and a cigarette, and we'll call that a training plan. But he's not avocado toast either when he comes through. So,
And now he's on to bigger and better things with Stormin sauce. I mean, this guy's
is
got
that
his
a bigger
own.
and better thing, really? It's another thing. Listen, I love a guy who can hit a home run and then can diversify into condiments, because that's amazing.
That's fair. He promised that he was sending us some. I will send some to you once I get it, because I know you can't find it out there, and I think it's a little hard to. I'm jealous, not jealous. I feel bad for you that you don't have a Festival Foods out there to go and get amazing things to put Stormin sauce on, like we do here and literally all around Wisconsin. But
that's where you get your burgers and your dogs and everything is strictly Festival Foods. That's you.
Literally, it's the official tailgate headquarters of the Green Bay Packers. Why would you not go to Festival to get all your tailgating things? It makes sense. And whether it's Stormin sauce, or did you tell me that you have
I have
I mean-
stadium. I have the stadium served secret sauce down right now.
Oh.
It's in the pantry. That's what I put on my hot dog, because even though we don't have a festival foods, we do have grocery stores. So we have sustenance. I do eat. I have been able to, over the last 23 years, feed the family.
Yeah.
All
right.
I don't want to get into competitor, because they're all regional names, but I'm just saying we've got some.
Yeah, not as good. It is what it is.
So,
all right, transition now. So your childhood didn't have a festival foods, but it had a lot of other things. Tell us another John, Wisconsin story, J.A.
So you want something Brewers, huh?
Yeah, I think so. I think that's appropriate.
Let me get my thinking stick out.
Yeah, thanks.
So my whole childhood is rooted in the Brewers, and I could do so many different things, right? My dad used to take me to games. That's another story. For my birthday, that's what I'd like to do. And we'd go down on a Friday night, catch a night game, then a Saturday afternoon game back when they had matinees. And then we'd come back. And I look forward to that every year. I bet we did that 6, 7, 8 years. It was amazing. I'd go down and here's my dad. And it turns out, Trev, my dad, he didn't like baseball. He's a Packer fan through and through. He would always say, I'm just sitting there watching. It's just the guys rearrange the dirt. And then they get in there and they look at a pitch and then they get out and they rearrange the dirt and they snorted each other. He was great when he did that. So like that, I could go into some of the things that happened there that were amazing. I think there's one that sticks out, or at least has everything. It's got childhood and it has really big importance, and it's a wow story. And I'd like to see the look on your face. I don't know if you knew this. I saw Hank Aaron break the all-time home run record.
That's right. Okay. Tell us the story. You've been hanging on to this one for a minute.
So, of course, now I didn't see him hit 715 in Atlanta against Al Dowling, right? I saw him hit number 739, which was in 1975. I was at a game. I'm 10 years old. We're at County Stadium. It's against the A's, and he hits a home run off of Vita Blue. And there it is. It's what did they say? June 4th, mid-June. So Hank Aaron hits his home run, which you don't think of anything like, wow, I saw Hank Aaron hit a home run. And then years later, as I got to be smarter and try to think, when people would say I saw Hank Aaron hit a home run, I thought, how can I dress this thing up? And it's true, because technically, right, after he hit 715, every time he hit a home run after that,
yes,
he was resetting the all-time home run records.
Right. Yep.
So technically, when he hit number 739, he broke the all-time home record of 738 that he previously had held. So that's how it works out. John, Wisconsin is OJA saw Hank Aaron break the all-time home run record with a tater off Vita Blue as a 10-year-old back in June. Awesome. So 739.
That's cool. Yeah, you told me that.
Some other kid saw him hit 740 through 755.
But you saw it.
But for that day, man, I saw Hank Aaron hit the all-time home run.
I love that. That's great. And was your dad there with you that day?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
And
what
probably
a gift.
Didn't have the appreciation for it that I did, and certainly not the appreciation I attach to it now.
I was going to say, I think he was doing you a favor, which is such a cool story.
It used to be years ago when I started this business. A great anchor we had at the NBC station when I was working in Columbia named Jeff Atkinson. And so Jeff was a brilliant journalist and a great guy to learn from when I started there. And every once in a while you'd get stuck. We got to tease this, this, and this. And every once in a while he'd go, is there something we can tease for more than it really is? Which is a very newsy thing, right? Like, we don't want to mislead anybody. That would be bad. But is there something we can tease for a little bit more than it is? That's my Hank Aaron home run story. We're going to tease it for a little bit more than it is. Yeah. I saw Hank Aaron break the all-time home record is a hell of a headline.
Hook, line, and sinker over here.
You get into the whole rest of the story and you're like, okay, I feel like that's a technicality, but yes, it's still true.
Got it. Well, that's what we're all about, man. The people, the stories, and the statriotism of America's Dairyland. Follow us and subscribe here on YouTube and all the rest of our social channels. And for everything else you need inside Wisconsin, head to the website, insidewisconsin.com. J.A., we're having a blast. Couldn't do it without you. For you, my name is Trevor. Until next time, as you were, Wisconsin.
Inside Wisconsin is brought to you by Bay Care Clinic, Cobblestone Creek, the University of Wisconsin Platteville, Mill Home Supper Club, Festival Foods, Capital Credit Union, North Star Mohican Casino Resort, American Family Insurance, and Roll Tech.
Shut up and sit down.